A tale as old as time at this point. Stop fucking with the Navy. No matter what time period we're talking about, there's always that one. Always gonna try. Always. Bad electrician. America dismantles pirate nations for touching their boats. The Barbary Wars. Oh, this is probably like... This is probably from before our time. My time and y'all's. I don't think any of us were alive for any of the Barbary Wars. I don't think any of us were alive for this shit. This is like some old school shit.
Pirates kept messing with American ships, so George Washington founded the
I knew it. Yeah, old as fuck.
United States Navy to do something about it. Yeah, the United States Navy was founded for the sole reason of hunting pirates. Today we're talking about the Barbary Wars, ladies.
And now we just hunt anyone who talks shit. Or who's just brave and or stupid enough to get close enough.
And gentlemen, it is pretty much an ongoing internet joke that you do not mess with America's boats, you know, because of Operation Praying Mantis, that time that America decided they were going to sink half of Iran's navy.
Proportionate.
In like 8 hours.
Yeah.
And Vietnam and World War II.
Yeah.
And World War I.
Yeah.
And the Spanish-American War.
Yeah.
And the War of 1812. I guess if you're not picking up what I'm putting down, I'm trying to tell you.
Yeah.
This is the origin story of why you don't mess with America's boats. But first, a word from our sponsor, because this video is brought to you by my favorite underwear company, Sheath. Wait, hold on. I'm supposed to read a script for this one. Here's how to do a perfect ad read for our company. Let's take a quick second to thank our favorite sponsor, your dad.
Oh, he's still on ads.
One universal truth to
Do you
life.
though?
That truth is that
North
cargo
Korea
boxes
remains
are
untouched?
awesome.
I don't know if you're talking to me or not. What
If you think
did I
cargo
say?
shorts
What
are
happened?
cool, wait till you try cargo
I don't know what that was in
boxes,
regards
except
to.
the cargo
My brain
pockets
sucks
never
today.
falls. Nobody in the history of mankind has ever been like, damn it, I have too many available cargo pockets. It's never happened.
Cargo shorts are not even cute at all.
First of all, cargo shorts are awesome. They always have been. Second of all,
No, fat electrician. No. No one's gotten a hand job in cargo pants since Nam. Bro, they haven't. What movie did I just reference there? Do y'all know?
you know what you and this cargo pocket have in common?
You don't feel either of us?
Damn! Wasted. Married.
Well, at least I know who I'm not letting put their phone in my pocket next time we go somewhere. Anyways, if you wanted to try some Sheath cargo
Yeah, next time she says, can you hold my purse? Nope. Nope.
yourself or buy some as a gift for your significant other, I'll have them linked in the description down below, and you can use the discount code FATElectrician for 20% off. Back to the video. All right, here's the deal. For 3 centuries, pirates from the Barbary states of Morocco, Algiers, Tunis, and Tripoli would raid merchant vessels in the Mediterranean, steal all the goods, and imprison and turn all of the crew members into slaves. So why was this allowed to go on for over 300 years? Well, the only navies powerful enough to stop these pirates at the time were the Spanish, the French, and the British. And
wait, hold on.
Raid merchant vessels in the Mediterranean, steal all the goods. Tunis and Tripoli would raid merchant vessels in the Mediterranean, steal all the goods, and imprison and turn all of the crew members into slaves. So,
slaves. Interesting. So you mean that shit... So you mean that it actually wasn't invented 50, 60, 70, 80 years ago? Interesting. Something a lot of dumbasses in this country would tell you now. Oh yeah, we had slaves. We had slaves. Yeah, so did the rest of the world, bro. So did every other country. So did every other territory. So did every other continent throughout the course of human history. But yeah, it started with America. We're the... Yeah, we did that. Yeah, sure. But we also got rid of it, and there's... never mind. Hypocrites. I always have to talk shit to them.
why was this allowed to go on for over 300 years? Well, the only navies powerful enough to stop these pirates at the time were the Spanish, the French, and the British. And they all came to the same conclusion that it would be cheaper to pay off the pirates, giving them a yearly tribute to not raid their ships rather than go to war with them. So now those 3 empires aren't getting their ships raided, which is fine. That's a good thing, I guess. But here's the catch with it that they may or may not have known at the time, but they definitely figured out somewhere along the way. Now the pirates are only raiding all the smaller nations. Okay, it's like Walmart, Target, and Amazon getting together, encouraging shoplifting, knowing that they can shoulder the financial burden, but it puts all the other mom and pop stores out of business and they become the only ones selling goods. Except instead of retail stores, we're talking about entire nations. This goes on for literally hundreds of years, but America is still part of the British Empire, so they fall under their umbrella of protection, so it's never an issue. That is until the American Revolution started on April 19, 1775, with the shot heard around the world, the Battle of Lexington and Concord, and the famous story of a 78-year-old veteran going out into his front yard and shooting 3 redcoats as they retreated back to Boston, sending the message for all of America that the British Empire should get off of our lawn. Fast forward, 1783, America wins the Revolutionary War, officially becoming its own country, and all of America's merchant vessels start flying the old red, white, and blue. And pretty much immediately, 1784, one of America's merchant vessels is captured by Barbary pirates from the country of Morocco. As an act of good faith for a new nation, Spain actually pays off the pirates, gets the American vessel and all of its crew back, returns it to America, and then advises the American government, hey, you guys should start paying these guys off too. That's what all the big nations are doing. At which point, America's minister to France, a guy by the name of Thomas Jefferson,
We don't negotiate with terrorists.
chimes in and he's like, no, absolutely not. I'm gonna go talk to him. Now, obviously I'm paraphrasing here, but basically Thomas Jefferson rolls up and he's like, hey, don't ever fuck with my boats ever again or else. At which point the Sultan of Morocco is like, I'm sorry, who are you? I'm Thomas Jefferson, one of the founding fathers of America. You know, we just kicked the British out of our entire country. We're our own thing now. I'm sorry, you fucking pilgrims did what now? We beat the British in war and now we are our own country. You mean to tell me that a bunch of colonial farmers with muskets went toe-to-toe with the largest military on the planet that is so good at war that they can literally wear high-vis red coats the entire time and still win, and you beat them? Yeah, that's exactly what I'm telling you.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I could probably just leave your boat there from now on. That historically seems like it's going to be a really good idea. And that is the story of how Morocco came to be the first country to recognize America as its own sovereign nation by signing the Moroccan-American Treaty of Peace and Friendship, which is the first and longest lasting peace treaty in American history. At which point Thomas Jefferson is like, wow, that actually worked out perfect. I'm going to go to the other 3 Barbary states and tell them the same thing now. But of course, there's going to be a catch with that. You see, there's 4 Barbary states, but Morocco's the only one that's actually truly independent, and the other 3 are just subservient branches of the Ottoman Empire. So Thomas Jefferson and John Adams go to talk to the ambassador of Tripoli, and they're like, hey, can all the Ottoman Barbary states leave our boats alone? At which point the ambassador informs them, absolutely not. You see, we're part of the Ottoman Empire. We don't need to listen to you. We're not scared of you guys. And it is our official stance that, and I quote, it was written in the Quran that all nations which had not acknowledged the prophet were sinners, who it was the right and duty of the faithful to plunder and enslave. Yep.
Your religious beliefs are about to get you fucked up.
You know, unless they give us money, of course. Everything's got a price, apparently. So Thomas Jefferson is like, well, okay, we're going to war then. And that's when John Adams is like, whoa, 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 calm down. Let's just pay the tribute so that our ships can be fine. We already disbanded the Continental Navy after winning the Revolutionary War. We don't have a navy to fight these guys. We just have to give them the money. So that's what happened. For the next 8 to 10 years, America would pay tribute.
I was gonna say it. Slippery slope. You do it this time, you gotta do it another time, and another time, and another time, and another time. Man, that's how it works. That's how it goes. And you can't keep that up forever. Eventually, that shit's gonna get old. So, prepare to get fucked on.
Tribute every year to these 3 remaining Barbary states, and every year they wanted more and more money, and eventually even that wasn't enough because Algiers began attacking American vessels anyways. Okay, if you're not picking up what I'm putting down, I'm trying to tell you that for the first time in American history, somebody has fucked with one of America's boats and they're not immediately sorry about it. Yet. The president at the time, George Washington, goes to Congress and pretty much tells them what's going to happen because at this point in time, George Washington is basically the king of America. Nobody actually knows if he's going to step down from presidency or not. So he's like, hey, guess what? You guys are going to pass the Naval Act of 1794, establishing the United States Navy. And at the very top of that document, it very clearly states that the purpose we are building the United States Navy is so that we can combat Algerine corsairs, which is just a fancy word for state-funded pirates. Yes, I'm telling you that the founding document of the most powerful navy the world has ever seen at the top specifically states the sole reason for their creation is to hunt down and destroy pirates pirates that had the audacity to fuck with one of America's ships. We've officially entered the find out portion of the story. America immediately commissions the building of 6 enormous frigates covered in guns to go fight these pirates. Fast forward to when the frigates are done, it takes a couple years. It is now 1798, and George Washington has decided to step down from power, allowing for an election to happen, and we are
Actually, I was just about to talk about that. I was just about to say something about that. Like, that is throughout the course of history, that's very unheard of for someone to have all that power and all that reign, and for sake of the conversation, all the clout, and to give it up like that. That's wild.
are now into the second president of America, John Adams.
Because what do people with power want? More power. And what do they want more than more power? To stay in power. And he was like, oh, no, you come in here and do it too. Go on vacation, man. Tired.
And John Adams decides he would rather keep paying tribute. Adams. And John Adams decides he would rather keep paying tribute.
You would rather be someone's bitch than actually fuck that. Live on your feet than die on your knees, John. Lord.
America just created the Navy, spent $1 million creating all these frigates, and now John Adams isn't going to use them for their intended purpose. Obviously, a lot of people are upset, including his own vice president, Thomas Jefferson. So Thomas Jefferson, the vice president at the time, immediately begins campaigning to run against the sitting president in the next election. And one of his biggest platforms is that he is going to go fight these pirates rather than pay them tribute. And his slogan for this is, and I quote, "Millions in defense before a cent in tribute." Okay, just so we're clear, Thomas Jefferson's platform for running for president is, I'm going to spend millions of dollars in defense, which might as well be hundreds of
I would rather go broke and go into debt than give these pieces of shit a penny.
billions of dollars at that point, because America no longer negotiates with terrorists, and I'm pretty sure my high school English teacher would refer to this as foreshadowing. So Thomas Jefferson wins the election. The entire world finds out that he's going to be the third president of the United States of America. And then on March 4th,
It reminds me of the movie The Longest Yard, whenever Paul Crewe starts throwing the game against the guards and they put in the kicker, right? What was his name? Can't remember his name. The kicker. The one that's always hooking up with the cheerleaders, right? And he gets in the huddle. He's like, Paul wants to be a piece of shit. That's on him. I'm going to take you guys to victory. Brucey. It's Brucey's time to shine, baby. Yeah, that's what Thomas just did. That's what Thomas Jefferson just did. He pulled a Brucey from The Longest Yard. Crew wants to be a piece of shit. That's his problem. I'm going to take you guys to victory. That's fantastic. Yeah, the short has been, Brucey.
teacher would refer to this as foreshadowing. So Thomas Jefferson wins the election. The entire world finds out that he's going to be the third president of the United States of America. And then on March 4th, 1801, the day of his inauguration, he receives a letter from Yusuf Karmanali, the Pasha of Tripoli. If you don't know, Pasha is like the dictator, the king, the president, the main dude in charge. And at this point, Thomas Jefferson, the guy who just ran an entire presidential campaign on, I'm going to go fight pirates, is thinking in his head like, maybe this guy found out that I'm about to send a navy over there to beat him up, and he's going to send an apology. Maybe he wants to sign a peace treaty like Morocco did. This is already working out great. I might not even have to send my navy over there. He opens the letter, and Pasha Yusuf Karmanali has decided that he is going to poke the Pilgrim King because he is now demanding that because of the new administration, the United States owes him an extra $225,000 in tribute.
And if Joe Biden was the president, he would gladly pay that $250K without even blinking at the drop of a hat. Just like that. But Thomas Jefferson ain't no fucking bitch. And you can't walk all over him like you can our current fucking president.
Thomas Jefferson is pissed.
You're trying to get crazy with us. Don't you know I'm local?
Originally, Thomas Jefferson was going to have to go to Congress, get permission to activate the Navy, to send him over there to fight these pirates, but not now. He's so mad, we're activating the Rainbow Shortcut to ass-whooping land, and Pasha Yusuf is going to have some consequences immediately because he's sending the Navy today. But like I said, it takes a literal act of Congress to send the US Navy over there on a military mission. So Thomas Jefferson is like, that's fine. We just won't send them on a military mission. Fill up one of our frigates with a bunch of gifts and peace offerings for
Missionary
Pasha
mission.
Yusuf, and then give it a nice healthy escort of other frigates to defend it and
Transport.
send them on their merry way to deliver the gifts. Right after he gives the commander of the United States Navy the standing order that he is also to defend any American citizen or ship from any potential aggression. Not aggression, potential aggression.
Yeah, we can't actually say that we're gonna go over there and fuck your life up, but what we will do is we're just gonna do a presence patrol. Really. We used to do these when we were deployed. Presence patrol. We would patrol the area, go on foot patrols, go through villages, go through all these places, and we dare you to shoot at us, bro. We dare you. Do it. Do it one time. Do it 2 times. You will regret everything about it. Try it. That's...
If he thinks that somebody else might be thinking about doing something aggressive,
Take them out. Take them down. Do your
thing.
do your stuff.
so the Navy sets sail. They're gone. They're en route. Thomas Jefferson's sitting in his office, and he comes to the realization, man, I'm pretty sure these pirates are going to attack him. But if they don't, they're actually going to end up giving Pasha What's-His-Nuts a bunch of these gifts. And I can't have it. So he whips out the old quill and parchment, and he writes a letter back and sends that off. And that letter basically reads, hey, America's done giving you tribute for the rest of forever. F off. And obviously the letter makes it there first, at which point Pasha goes to the American consulate building and chops down the flagpole with the American flag on it, which in that part of the world is how you declare war. So the US Navy shows up off the coast of the Barbary States. The pirates attack them because they've already declared war. The US Navy defends themselves. Word gets back to America. Congress then is like, oh, hey, we're at war. We're going to go ahead and give Thomas Jefferson permission to use the United States Marine Corps at his discretion. And this is why, to this day, the United States Marine Corps is the only branch of the U.S. military that can be sent and deployed anywhere in the world
In tandem with the Navy.
without congressional approval. So
Oh.
for the next 2 years, the U.S. Navy...
Wait, say that one more time.
This day, the United States Marine Corps is the only branch of the U.S. military that can be sent and deployed anywhere in the world without congressional approval. So for the
I didn't know that at all.
next 2 years, the U.S. Navy and the Marine Corps set up a naval blockade and just go on a pirate hunting extravaganza until October of 1803, when the USS Philadelphia would get hung up on an uncharted reef right off the coast of Tripoli. The pirates seize this opportunity, they attack the USS Philadelphia, board it, take the crew hostage, and then over the next couple months, they were able to repair it enough to get it back into the harbor at Tripoli, where they then anchored it in place and used it as fixed artillery because it had way more guns than any other vessel they had.
Hell yeah.
Cue our first main character, Stephen Decatur, the commander of the USS Enterprise, America's unofficial flagship. He decides that he's going to don his plot armor, take the USS Enterprise out, and acquire himself a pirate ship, which he does. He then takes that pirate ship and the USS Enterprise and sails both of them to Sicily, where he hires 5 Sicilian mercenaries that know how to speak Arabic. They then sail back to Tripoli, where Decatur and 80 Marines are going to go below deck of this pirate ship, which has now been christened the USS Intrepid, as the 5 mercenaries are going to sail directly into the heart of the harbor, pretending to be Barbary pirates. They then go directly
Trojan
to the
horse.
USS Philadelphia. 80 Marines and Stephen Decatur run out, kill the entire crew of pirates that are on the USS Philadelphia, and reclaim it. Unfortunately, the USS Philadelphia is too damaged to actually be used as a ship ever again, at which point Stephen Decatur decides, fine, we're just going to burn the entire thing to the ground, because if
So
we
that you can't have it.
nobody can.
Yup.
Deprive the enemy of nice things. I'm pretty sure Sun Tzu said that. So that's exactly what they do. They light the USS Philadelphia on fire, they're positive it can't be put out, and then they bounce. Not a single American is injured, and Stephen Decatur is hailed a hero because he has now led what is, in my opinion, America's first special operations mission. So now that that's taken care of, the problem at hand is that the crew of the USS Philadelphia is still being held hostage by the Barbary pirates, and they want a ton of money in exchange for them back. However, America no longer negotiates with terrorists, and that's not an option. Cue our next 2 main characters, William Eaton and Presley O'Bannon. And before you ask, yes, Presley O'Bannon, as in the USS O'Bannon, the Fletcher-class destroyer from World War II that sank a Japanese submarine with potatoes. So they go in and they pitch their idea of how they're going to get the
We need to watch that video.
crew of the
If
USS
that is a video.
Philadelphia back, and it is by every definition, a special operations mission. Basically, they want to take themselves, 2 dudes, plus 6 Marines for a total of 8 guys, and they're going to get dropped off in Egypt, because in Egypt is Yusuf Karmali's brother that is living in exile because Yusuf kicked him out because he is technically the rightful heir of Tripoli. So they're going to get that guy and all the buddies that are loyal to him, like 500 men. And then
hey, do you want to reclaim your empire? We're going to go kill your brother. Are you down?
and they're going to march them through the desert to Derna, where they are then going to use them to fight and take over the city and exchange the city for the crew of the USS Philadelphia. And upon hearing this ridiculous plan, the US military leadership is like, whoa, whoa, whoa. You want to take a small contingency of men, be dropped off in a foreign country, meet up with a rebel leader who already has a bunch of men, and then convince him that you're going to help him overthrow a current dictator, and then he can be the new dictator, and basically we're using other people to fight other people that we don't like to benefit us, and
That's exactly how we operate today. That's how we've operated for a long ass time.
Presley O'Bannon and Eaton are like, yeah, that's pretty much exactly it. And the government is like, this is a terrific idea. I mean, we're probably never, ever going to do anything like this ever again.
Bullshit.
We're not going to have an entire branch of special forces that specializes in it. Sorry,
Right.
anyways, that's exactly what they do. They get dropped off in Egypt. They track down Hamet. They're like, hey, you want to go overthrow your brother? Cool. Grab your guys. Let's go. Somewhere along the way, the Marines also picked up 50 Greek mercenaries as they all began marching 500 miles through the Libyan desert to get back to the Tripolitan coast.
500 miles through the desert. Damn. That doesn't sound fun at all.
And this march through the desert takes 50 days, and it is a complete shit show because somewhere along the way, they start running low on supplies, and
They probably start running low on fucking people, too. Heat exhaustion. Just exhaustion. Hunger. Disease. Some Oregon Trail type shit, but in the desert.
to start rationing, and then some people get mad. There's accusations because the Greek guys are Christian, Hamet's guys are Muslims, there's fighting amongst themselves, and there's these 8 Marines standing in the middle, desperately trying to keep them from killing each other as they march through the desert. So despite multiple mutiny attempts and a ton of fights, the Marines were able to keep this group together enough to make it through the Libyan desert till they arrived at the coastal city of Bamba. Once they get there,
they had to babysit all these dudes. They basically had to play referee, mediator, mom, dad, babysitter, just to keep them from killing each other. Like, guys, listen, we're on a mission here. We're gonna go kill other people. You can kill someone. I promise you. You get to kill as many people as you want, but fuck, dude, let's just get there first.
they meet up with the USS Argus that gives them a bunch of supplies so they can start eating food again, and they give enough money to pay off the Greek mercenaries. Then Eaton decides that he's going to send a letter over to the governor of Derna right next door, because remember, we can't attack unless they're potentially aggressive. Okay, so he sends a letter and is basically like, hey, I'm going to march my army through the middle of your town to go kill your boss on my way to Tripoli. Can I have some safe passage and maybe some food? The governor of Derna sends a letter back that says, my head or yours, which sounds potentially aggressive enough. So they begin making the plan for the ground attack. Hamet and his men are going to take the governor's palace, and the Marines and the Greek mercenaries are going to take out the harbor fortress. But to do that, they're going to need a cannon from the USS Argus, so they're going to meet up with it, go get this cannon, and prepare for their attack. Cut back to Stephen Decatur. While all this has been happening, there's still been a naval battle in the Mediterranean the entire time, and Stephen Decatur is on an absolute rampage, because after he captured his first pirate ship, he would receive word that his brother, James Decatur, had been mortally wounded by one of the pirate ship's captains, who was pretending to surrender before shooting his younger brother.
Damn.
Upon hearing this, Decatur immediately gives command of the new captured vessel to one of his men, leaves a couple guys with him, and takes off to track down this pirate ship that just killed his brother. So they chase down this pirate ship, they pull up right next to it, and before the crew has time to do any boarding procedures, you know, like break out the planks, tie some ropes to the other ship, all that stuff you see in the movies, nah, Stephen Decatur jumps into the enemy ship and starts killing pirates immediately. 9 Marines, seeing that happen, are like, oh shit, we're doing this.
Let's go.
So they jump onto the pirate ship too and start throwing down, at which point the pirate ship veers off and breaks away from Decatur's ship. It is now 9 Marines and Stephen...
That's the equivalent of, like, you know, everyone has guns. Everyone has guns, and you're just like, do you just want to do this like gentlemen? Huh? You just want to scrap it out like the old times? No weapons, no nothing. Let's just good old like this. Yeah, let's do that. Fuck these guys.
Decatur versus over 30 pirates on this vessel, and 30 is not going to be enough. Stephen Decatur kills multiple pirates, including the captain that had slain his brother, officially avenging his brother's death, capturing that vessel as well. But he is still absolutely furious that his brother died, and he continues to go on a rampage,
Bloodlust.
capturing another pirate ship and destroying 3 more over the coming weeks. Cut back to the men on the ground. Eaton and O'Bannon have been getting their battle plan ready this entire time. They just had their men go get a cannon off the USS Argus because they really need this cannon if they're going to be able to pull off this mission. So they're ready to attack. The US Navy gets into formation and they are going to bombard the entire city of Derna while they launch this attack. Despite that, there's over 2,000 men loyal to Pasha Yusuf that are going to defend it, and they are heavily outnumbered. So Navy starts bombarding the shore. Hamet and his men take off to go attack the governor's palace, and Eaton, O'Bannon, the Marines, and the Greek mercenaries begin launching their attack on the harbor fortress. They open up with the initial cannon fire, which is going to be vital to
That was pretty good, dude. Attacks on multiple fronts. That's how you do it.
be able to break through the enemy lines and establish their foothold. They fire the cannon. As they go to reload and fire it again, they realize that they had accidentally forgot to take the ramrod out of the cannon and shot that at the enemy too. Now the cannon's completely out, and they're kind of like, oh shit, what do we do? What do we do? And Presley O'Bannon just charges into battle as the other Marines follow behind him and the Greek mercenaries behind them. They attack.
It's the equivalent of like your gun jams or you run out of ammo and you just throw the gun. Fuck you.
So quickly and so violently that they're able to overrun the entire enemy fortress before anybody really knows what's going on, and Presley O'Bannon becomes the first American ever to raise the Star-Spangled Banner over a foreign battlefield. This battle, the taking of the Tripolitan coastal city of Derna, is enshrined in Marine Corps history in the Marine Corps hymn with the line, "From the halls of Montezuma to the shores of Tripoli," and it is also where the Marine Corps would get their first nickname ever, because the 7 Marines present for this battle fought so hard and so violently that they simply became known as the Leathernecks, referring to the leather collar that they wore
Camp Leatherneck, I think.
around their neck to protect it from slashes from pirate swords. So Yusuf's men end up getting beaten back and are forced to retreat to Tripoli, at which point the Marines, the Greeks, and Hamet and his men all consolidate, figure out what happened. Hamet and his men were able to take over the governor's palace, and after the taking of the city of Derna, Hamet awards his very own sword to Presley O'Bannon as a gift for how valiantly he fought in battle. And this is the Mameluke sword, the same sword that is on the Marine Corps uniform today. So now Yusuf consolidates his military, sends an enormous army back to Derna to try to take it back over, and they're kind of just sitting on the outskirts of the city, waiting for the right moment to attack. Eaton and O'Bannon are writing correspondence.
That's some fantastic Marine history that I didn't know. I wasn't in the Marines, so.
To the US military and the chain of command, like, hey, we took this entire city with like 8 Marines, give us some reinforcements, we're gonna go take Tripoli next, and then we'll just overthrow this entire country. This goes on for over a month, and they defend the city multiple times from attacks from Yusuf's men, and eventually Eaton receives a letter informing him that he is to stand down and just leave, because American diplomat Tobias Locke has struck up a deal with Yusuf Karmanali. And apparently he struck up this deal with absolutely nobody's permission, because the deal is America is going to pay Yusuf Karmanali, the pirate king, $60,000, and in exchange, we are going to receive the USS Philadelphia back, as well as a peace treaty that they are going to leave American ships alone from now on. So yeah, everybody's pretty pissed off about it, from Thomas Jefferson, Presley O'Bannon, William Eaton, Stephen...
Keep the ship. We're gonna fuck you into oblivion, and then you're gonna leave us alone, period.
Decatur. They're all furious that we are now giving $60,000 to this pirate king, as opposed to overthrowing his entire city of Tripoli, or at a minimum using the fact that they're holding Derna and use that as leverage to exchange. But whatever, the war's over, I guess. For now. So the peace treaties were signed in 1805. Now, fast forward 7 years, 1812, the War of 1812 happens. Okay, if you don't know, the War of 1812, there's more to it than this, but the reason that it started is that Great Britain wanted to have more control over the seas and trade, because America was getting too much, because America was no longer getting attacked by pirates, because we just beat them in a war now too. So Great Britain launches another war against America. During this war, they encourage the Barbary pirates to start attacking American vessels again. And honestly, it works out pretty good for the pirates, at least for a little while, because the American Navy is too busy to worry about them because their hands are full with the British Navy. Fast forward 2 years, 8 months later, the War of 1812 ends. Now, luckily for the Barbary pirates, Thomas Jefferson is no longer president at this point. We are on to America's 4th president. Let me check my notes here. James Madison. If you don't know, James Madison is one half of what is referred to as the Forefathers dynamic duo, and the other half is his best friend of all time, Thomas Jefferson. And I don't know if you figured this out yet at this point in the story, but Thomas Jefferson hates pirates. So sitting President James Madison, being the homie that he is, looks over at now Commodore Stephen Decatur and says,
"Go get him, Tiger."
He then proceeds to assemble the largest U.S. naval fleet ever at this point in time and sails directly to the Barbary coast. He then immediately tracks down Algiers' flagship, the Mashuda, takes it out, captures over 400 members of its crew, and the ship itself. He then proceeds to take all of his gunboats directly to Algiers, park him in the port, and say, here's the deal. You're gonna surrender and you're never gonna collect tribute from anyone ever again, or I'm gonna overthrow your entire country. Obviously, they take the first option, at which point Decatur's like, okay, cool, next order of business. You're also gonna pay me back for all the US merchandise that you plundered during the War of 1812. And they're like, okay, here you go. They give it to him. He then proceeds to sail his fleet next door to Tunis and tell them the exact same thing, ordering them to sign a peace treaty, never raid an American vessel again, and then collects a bunch of money. He then sails them next door again to Tripoli and does the exact same thing, collects all this money, gets the peace treaties. The Barbary pirates never mess with America ever again. Decatur and his fleet sail back home, and he tells the government what happened. The American government is blown away at the results that Decatur was able to achieve. When asked how he managed to not only get peace treaties without too much violence, but also get a bunch of money and concessions on top of it, all Decatur said was,
the shit out of
peace
them.
was achieved through the mouth of our cannons, at which point he was given the nickname the Conqueror of the Barbary Pirates. And with the rest of the world seeing a new country in its infancy stand up for itself against the Barbary pirates and winning, they would start doing it too, and everybody started fighting back and quit paying tribute to the Barbary pirates, and in the coming years, they would fade into nothing as their 300-year reign of terror had come to an end. So in conclusion...
Kind of idiots though, bro. All they had to do, they could have stayed collecting tribute from every other nation that they were intimidating and looting, right? All you had to do was leave America alone. But I get it. It's a brand new country. The new kids on the block. How dangerous could they be? The fucking new guy, right? New kids on the block. How dangerous could they be? How good could they be at combat? How efficient are they, right? They're a new country. How could they possibly be better than us? I get it, but all you had to do was just leave it alone. You could have stayed collecting tribute from all the other ones. And had you done that, you could have, stayed doing what you were doing. Up until America decides that it no longer just wants to sit on the sidelines and decides to inject itself into a situation that doesn't have anything that they don't have anything to do with, kind of like how we do right now sometimes. All they had to do. But I understand why they didn't. They were like, who the fuck are you? Y'all just became a nation like 10 minutes ago. Fuck out of here. Give my money, bitch. And then you get pecker slapped a couple times. It's just like, okay, sorry. Apologies. Please, just I don't want to fight anymore, man. It's you can have it. It's all good. It's all good.
The moral of the story is, please, for the love of God, do not mess with America's boats. Thank you for watching. Best way to support the channel is go buy some merch over at thefatelectrician.com. Quack bang, out.
Fuck around.
And that is part 1 of the origin story of how America became the world police.
Yeah.
Give you a hint, part 2 ends after the Korean War when NATO gets founded.
Oh, that was a good one. That was a good one. We've been playing the fuck around and find out game since our inception. Ladies and gentlemen, since we became a nation. And to this day, people still try. It'd be ill-advised, really. It's like I said in the last one. You're better off fucking with the ground troops at this point. But even then, even back then, the ground troops still fucked you up. 8 Marines damn near took over your whole entire country. 8. Imagine 20,000. 50,000, right? So, but more so today than back then, you're better off fucking with the ground troops. Fucking with the boots on the ground, because you're not making any headway against our Navy. And God forbid the Air Force shows up. It's over for you. There's nothing you can do about that, bro. Literally, motherfucking nothing. So, there's always going to be somebody that tries. We still have pirates today. So, however, I don't really know. I do know of like 1 or 2. Not all instances, but there's still pirates today. There's still piracy today on the open seas. Whether the Navy does anything about it, or whether it's all up to the Coast Guard, or, you know, any other government individual agencies that patrol in that capacity with that job. I don't know. Maybe we'll watch a video on that one day. But